early 90s.
92. Wow. Retired.
He's he built his business for 7 years.
How old is he?
50, early 50.
Okay, that's really good.
He's been making $1 million a year with the company. He doesn't run an office anymore. He closed his office there already. So, but he's actively with us, helping us directly coaching chef. Indirectly coaching means he really qualified for.
How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so every week he's spent time with us.
12 years.
You recruit 10 people every month. He's fantastic.
Grew up here.
This is like, you have to get somebody.
Your parents are doing it or something?
No, it's just I was.
He has.
Oh,
first
okay.
time. No.
You can't get this.
It's helped you mature.
Where you make passive income.
Still a kid. It's not a kid.
Recruiting from the team.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
Because he said that the 80, 20% rule, 10 people.
Is that right?
8 people's got to do nothing, and 2 people's got to do everything.
That's true.
Now,
Yeah.
You're in this business for all. Kelvin is Brandon.
That's Brandon. Nice to meet you, Kevin.
Good, how you? Moving, I see you moving.
So yes, he said that if anybody that does this, should qualify for spending time with him, coaching people. And that's just people below broker. So all of the brokers really talk to him and he coaches them.
Is that the first level? I can't remember.
The broker position is the RVP position. So the first regional vice president. The first position is district. So when you get to license, you become a senior rep. Your first promotion will be district.
District, okay.
So the focus is really getting that team push to get the right talent to stay with him and coach. And so beside him, Shaq obviously is going to be there. Christian David, who's a $900,000 is going to be there. $900,000. So all these.
He's close to it.
Yeah. So all these income that I'm throwing out to is all
yesterday?
12-1 rolling income.
I went to South Africa and then
And then
and everybody was
beside
trying
him,
to call
there's
me.
another gentleman. His name is
And
Tom
I was
Shepard.
like-
No relationship to Sam Shepard.
Mine was
Wow.
Ben Shepard.
really, and I was like,
He's coming to teach us the investment business
Ronald called Blocker
because he just made
and then
last a couple months ago he made a transaction. He made $300,000 one transaction. He's obviously been following up with his client.
and then his mom said him over
And build that relationship. But that one transaction boosts his income from $600,000 a year to $900,000. He's going to be there teaching the security boot camp. So there's different things that are going to be different.
Hey.
Look at wherever you are.
Hey, guys.
This is Show. Hey, Show. So this is Brandon.
Nice to meet you.
And
I like your
Gina.
bag.
Thank you. Super cute. Nice to meet you. Too. Thank you.
Floods in Texas.
Okay, okay.
So that this weekend is going to be awesome. There's a lot of information.
I mentioned the patients and he was like, oh, I listened to what you said.
In Bristol, Ohio.
I listened to what.
I'm
Depends.
excited. I'm just
My mom
excited
listens to
about
both.
this whole
Yeah.
thing. So
And then I think 104.1 is like a preaching station, or 105.1 is like a preaching station.
Let's say.
Yeah. Y'all did do lots of sermons on the
Absolutely. Your first month, you were first month. We allowed you follow the system. Take this class.
I just wanted to.
When you pass and you fail, we can take another class. Because we don't want to incubate them.
So you gonna pull it up for me, Thomas?
Absolutely. Once your license is
Yes.
one
Yes, I
transaction,
will.
you know, once your license. Before your license, it's going to be a transaction that's successful.
Oh, I know. I love talking too, but she doesn't do flash.
You know? So my focus for you is to get to train to get your license.
Yes.
We don't want to do
Go
She's trying to.
Didn't even, you know how sometimes.
Got my laptop ready.
This is like, you're just like.
That's why
Father
I
God.
did it.
Yeah, I said I have to be serious about that.
Have you met Brandon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So Tia and I, usually in this office, until we get here, in a 45, you don't have to be at 9 o'clock. You can get here, you will be here.
Okay.
Monday to Friday. They don't have a day on appointment or whatever. So I'm not gonna go back. But you know, you're walking from the job. This whole common area, we
This, so not the whole floor, but this is.
yeah, this area right here, and then there's two offices right next to it.
Mom, you going to the bathroom?
I don't think guys, they're gonna get out of the team meeting there. I don't think. They're like, let's go to the offices.
You fight someone, Thomas?
Huh?
You fight someone?
No.
What happened?
One man army. We're good. We're good. I kicked him out.
There's not be a fight.
Someone else have it, right?
Why?
Good morning, Amanda.
Huh?
Good.
A word this morning?
I guess that's
A word?
Look at the drama.
So somebody gave me their work email the other day.
You're not supposed to do a work email.
Yeah, their work. Yeah, I had to go back.
You email some-
Hi, Rosa.
Good
morning.
Rosa!
Right? And it was like red, and I was like, okay,
Give me my last quick.
slow it down.
Leave it in the
Red, and I'm like,
Oh.
No problem. Thank you, Rosa.
To accept like the application.
I was like,
So if you put in application.
yeah, I had to go back in. I was like, oh,
Throughout.
so that's so good.
All the
That-
time.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, when it's like, oh, it's ready to be accepted.
I'm listening.
Okay.
And then she'll double check to make sure that it's good. That's why every time we do quick file, I'll say, hey, run this and then she calls you.
Yeah, like-
She's
Like,
gonna be
You know, like,
Immediately social program. Like maybe they just done that again.
I've seen this.
I guess so.
Yeah. Oh, you love it?
Right.
I know more about
How are you doing?
She's
Have you been to this past?
Jody to get her license over here. And once we got her license, she knows that we
I want to double check you before I start talking.
I think that would be, I think that would be a nice, you know, because we'll get.
It looks like they were setting up that today. I guess they'll see any of
That's
this.
so cool. I think she sat in front of me on Saturday. Really? Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's cool, you don't have much more training, but I said, I'm good. Sits me through the whole thing. You know what I mean?
we get
And it went red.
Gotcha.
Maria is just joined the team maybe late August. She joined the team late August, and then by early September she was licensed.
Really?
Yeah, and so, you know, we put it in class.
Sounds human.
Yes, please.
It's getting to class, going to class, it's getting to class, going to class. She took the class on Tuesday, and she passed the exam. And then the business system, now they all can be sort of you different classes.
Yeah,
Telegram said you're online. Everybody is.
And it was kind of late, I
We honestly, no more. Yeah, when she passed the exam for bonus. Passing the exam, we did some computer training before that. we recruited 2 people, we have like 2 clients, during the presentation, and how we do it. See, president, they cash out. See, we see the first check a couple days ago.
Hey everybody! I get the pleasure of starting training today. Yeah! If you don't know me, my name is Jen Lee. He's still preparing some training downstairs for us. So he just asked me to start for the first 10 minutes. He asked me specifically about our double-digit recruiting call on Tuesday and what Bruce went over. So the whole call was basically about like our team, Sugar, Gina, Val, CEO, who's ever in this room. He talked really about our team and then my personal number. So Shaq wanted me to go over just basically what was on the call. So I'm just going to share with you guys what I did to get to 50,000. Is that okay? Of income? Okay, awesome. So just to give you a little bit about how I started, who doesn't know my story? Okay, what's your name again? Brandon. Brandon? Okay, so Brandon's our great hair. I have a Brandon on my team too. It happens to be her husband. But yeah, so I worked 80 hours a week at Ruby Tuesday and Frozen Yo, and I was prospected at a cookout that I was not supposed to be at, and I had just gotten through this whole like stage of my life where it's like, oh my God, I feel overworked and underpaid. I came out of Ruby Tuesday with less than $20 in my pocket after 5 hours of a shift. I was working 60 hours at Frozen Yo. I was so broke, my jobs had to be next to each other. So like at some point, I think I'm louder than this. It's true, right? You guys can still hear me? Yeah. So I got promoted. I got prospected at a cookout, and I guess when you're out and about, you're just trying to look for the next superstar, all that. So this guy tells me it's financial services. I'm just like, ew, I don't like financial services. I hated my accounting class. I literally like ran up and down the steps at Penn State University stairs because I passed accounting class because nobody really passed, right? So like I thought Primerica, the idea of financial services was this one thing when really I assumed wrong and it was a whole nother thing. And thank God I just went out and checked it out because I really had no other choice. Because if I stayed at Ruby Tuesday and Frozen Yo, we would have lost our apartment. That's all I knew. And so something had to change. And so when I came here and I saw the compound interest, I saw the rule of 72, I saw Shaq, and I saw how passionate he was. That's number one. You should always have passion when you talk about your business. So when I saw how passionate Shaq was in front of the room, it was a Saturday morning, and I had just gotten home at 12 midnight, went to sleep at 1 o'clock, had to wake up at 7 to get picked up at 8 a.m. I did not want to wake up. I negotiated, tried to negotiate the time to get picked up. I tried to negotiate everything, And so the person who ended up recruiting me, Gustavo, he didn't let me negotiate anything. And I just couldn't understand why he wasn't budging at all, ever. So and there were times when I just didn't understand, but in hindsight, everything makes sense. So I came out, I was like, I want to start because this is the only thing that looks better that I've seen than where I am now. So I got started 10 hours a week or less. Dustin, who trained me originally before Ricardo was my main trainer, he taught me how to recruit. And he was very, just very excited, enthusiastic all the time. And I just never could feel that Dustin was a sellout. Like I could feel he was 100% committed to training me. If I had a KT at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was like, dang, this guy's really committed. Like, I really need to earn the right to to work with this guy. So if you're a trainer and you want to become a trainer, because if you're in this group, I'm assuming that you want to accelerate your way to having this as your main income, if not your only income, and really make a consistent income. So I really saw how serious he was, and that made me more serious. So as a person leading somebody else, if you really want your recruit or teammate to listen to you, you gotta come off serious, right? There should be no type of, I don't know if this person is dedicated, even if you don't know how to explain as good as your trainer, you should always come off like, fake it till you make it, right? Ever heard that? So I got promoted to district leader. I was a sprint district within 28 days, but I was still working 80 hours a week. When I tell you they told me study 1 chapter a day, I listened. I woke up 2 hours earlier to go to Gustavo's place and meet him and then go to Ruby Tuesday to work. So I literally cut my sleep from 7 hours to 5 hours. So a day, and it was only 10 days of a schedule like Dustin gave me, and I followed it. I lost sleep. So when people, they say, oh, I don't have time, if you make time. Nobody has time. No matter how tired you are, you're going to be forever tired if you don't make a change, right? So temporary wise with the long-term view was how I kept, and that's how I've always been. Even when something is up or down, in life is going to be all ups and downs. And so this business is going to be ups and downs, but it's just life. Life is going to happen regardless. So you might as well go through it here, right? Because you're going to go through it at your job. You're not going to make it. It's just how it is. It's just going to be your job. No matter what, you make 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. Even if a job pays you $1 million, who gets to decide if you're there or not tomorrow, right? And so Bruce pulled up my trend track. I'm trying to see if Thomas can pull it up. And Bruce went over. Anybody know what a trend track is?
Yes.
Okay, what's a trend track to you?
It keeps your trend of your past business and then what you're doing now. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So in any type of business, it's important to keep track of how much you've grown in the last year or the last month or the last quarter, right? So when people want to invest in your company and they want to buy shares of your company, they want to know how much you've grown in the last quarter before they decide to put money in you. That's how your friends and family are looking at you. How much have you grown? Because they don't see you, they see you for what you are now, not for what you're going to be. Only you can see that vision, right? And so when you grow, that's what really proves to them that this thing works because it's you and you only. So you want to log in? Maybe.
Story time.
I think you know me too well. You might be able to actually guess my password. I don't know. Wait, what is my password? No, it's not. All y'all are wrong. Everybody was wrong. That's the one person I would not put in my password. Now all types of social security is flying around. So when I go into an obstacle, I always think, what if somebody that I'm responsible for training, what if they run into the same issue, right? So would I be able to help them overcome that? Yes or no? Okay, so September is not over yet, so I'll just look at August. And that's what Bruce was going over. So the way you find trend track, if you go on POL and you go to all apps for business, the middle column there's going to be a trend track. It says trend track. That's all it says. It's like, just read it, right? Trend track. So, and then it's going to give you options to see your personal activity or your personal results. And then you can also see base shop, which is your team and down under. And if you don't have a team that's licensed and producing yet, then your base shop is basically you, right? Yeah. And that's fine because everything should start with you anyways.
Reading that. Apologize, guys.
I'll just pull it up here. It's not
Yeah, so I would always think if I was going through something, would I be able to help somebody else overcome it? The answer would be no if I don't overcome it myself. The answer is yes if I help myself overcome it. So Fast Start School, $80 to my name, just came back. Who got their ticket to the Fast Start School? The big event, September 28th and 29th. High. Registration and ticket, right? So if your hand's not raised, you're willingly dropping a $2 million check on the ground. That's just how it is. You don't care about making money. You don't want to make money here. If you're not at the event, you do not want to make money here. This is not making money only and selling for like Avon or Herbalife or whatever other, money-making opportunities are out there. This is a business opportunity where people are teaching you that have no connection with you, except for the fact that we're both in the same company and the same system. This guy, Sam Shepard, is coming to speak about his blueprint of how he's going to go from $0 to $1 million. $2 million, sorry, not even $1 million. And so would that be smart to be there?
Yeah.
Right? So if it doesn't matter, it's $25, then whatever you guys split for hotel, if you're splitting hotel, right? If you're like me, at the convention, which is every 2 years, we put 13 people in a hotel room because so many people didn't have money, but we made it work, right? And Bruce said on the conference call, there's situations and then there's problems. So many people say, I have a problem. Here's the problem. It's not a problem. Problems can't be solved by a check. You got cancer, that's probably not going to be just solved just by writing a check, right? And if somebody in their family has cancer, I just had a teammate who lost his dad to cancer, and he told me to share the story with our team, on Tuesday, it's so that people could know the importance of life insurance because his dad is covered, right? But he just lost his dad the other day to cancer. A check can't fix that, right? But a situation is when all you have to do is make an extra check, and you can write a check just to fix that problem. If it's $2,000 of a problem in your mind, all you need is $2,000. That's just a situation. So in my mind, okay, if I have to pay for this, that's just a situation. I just need to go out there and make an extra $700. If you're at a 50% contract, that's a $500 an hour job for you in the field. How great is it that you have a $500 bill that you have to cover, but all you need to do is put an hour in the field and you get paid, you pay that bill, right? How great is that? If you work 10 hours, $10 an hour at a regular job, right, before taxes, $10 an hour, that's what, 50 hours you have to work for $500 versus 1 hour here. So that's the opportunity that, I kept tricking myself to have. Okay, cool. So, okay. All right. So this is my personal, okay? So let's go, okay, so what is this, ending in August? Okay, so if you look at my cash, right, there's some months that working as good, and that's going to be how it is, right? You just depend on one person, you're going to be inconsistent yourself, but the key is always to be consistent. That doesn't even be clear. Oh. Okay, cool. Can everybody see that? Yeah. Okay, so, all right, I'm not going to tell you all the things I went through in these 2017 and 2018 videos, horrible, right? The key was I always kept showing up. I always showed up. Some people say, oh, I don't have $4 to get on the train. When you don't have $4 to get on the train, you definitely need this opportunity. You need to find $4. Just like if the lottery ticket was waiting for you here. Shaq makes $450,000 a year, has probably $4 million or more saved in cash. So, you got to make it to him. He doesn't need to make it to you, right? And Bruce always said if he had the same mentality as us, he would have our lifestyle, not his. And so we have to borrow their lifestyle, their mentality. And so I really worked on myself. Intangibles I did, wrote my affirmations in the morning, read every single morning. That's what the change I made. I read every morning, I wrote my affirmations, and I kept working out every morning. That's what I did every single morning to get my mind right. Because sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed or something happened the day before, and you wake up with that issue. And problems, situations, problems, whatever you want to call it, they're just temporary. You just make it permanent. So from September 2018, what am I looking at? I don't think I pulled this up. No. Okay, is this the one? Sorry if I'm jumping around, you guys. Shaq asked me about 5 minutes before. Did you train? All right, so this is my personal premium, okay, versus this year. Well, from September to September, right, the last 12 months, because 50,000 of income for the last 12 months. So this is my personal premium here in 2018 from September to September 2018, right? So 1,700, 3,600, 4,500, 2,700, 2,700, 2,900, 6,300, 1,900, 2,700, 4,600, 52,74. That was 2017-18. Then 2018 and 19, you see it's 57, 72, 10, 8. That was when I was training Shug, by the way. So that month I was training Shug. And Shug was, still very coachable, and she, didn't have many really questions. She was just like, show me what to do, and I'll do it. And Bruce always talks about, make sure you know who you're spending your time with or investing your time with. And some of us need to make sure we're the ones that are worth the time invested in. Shaq, are you worth the time that Shaq puts in you, right? Are you gonna give him a return? It starts with you first. It's not you looking at somebody like, oh, this person's not worth my time or worth my time. It's no, are you worth somebody else's time, right? Because if you're worth your trainer's time, then, you can stand with a new person and they can look at you like, man, this person can take you to the next level. Do they see that fire in your eyes? So that's my premium. So you see down here, March was 11,000. So generally November and March are the biggest months that we have. So 10.8 was in November and 11.1 was in March. And then it just starts getting more consistent. So you guys see how I keep consistent, right? So I would average about 20 KTs or more I go on throughout the whole month. So I've been tracking things, every so often, every month. And so 20 or more KTs is what I average a month. So, I mean, that's not really a lot if you think about 2 hours a KT at max. 2 hours times 20 is 40 hours in the month, right? And then go next to recruits, because you can't just be a salesperson here forever, because eventually you're going to burn out and get tired. There are going to be days when you don't feel like working. There are going to be days where actual problems happen in your life, where you're going to have to tend to maybe a child or a parent or something. So September to September 2017 to 2018. So I always had a goal to at least hit the board once a month when I was younger in the business, because Shaq got up here and he praised a woman years ago. I don't even remember her name, but he was like, man, this girl, I can depend on her all the time. I can depend on her to always put something up every single month, just one app and one recruit, right? And immediately I was like, oh, I guess you're somebody if you do at least one. So I said I would do at least one. But the problem was, because I said at least I'll do one, I always did at least one. So I was like, you know what? I need to do 3 or 4, right? So that's when I started talking to myself better and writing and really working on doing 3, because you see the 2, the 3, the 2, the 3, and then, some months I did 1, 5, 3. So then 2018, 2019, the numbers still, I went from 24 direct recruits to 43 direct recruits. And I learned how to put everybody in the field as quick as possible. And so when you get a recruit in, they should be in the field, if not that night, the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay? My premium, if you go back, is 46,000 personal from 1 year to 88,000? Right, 88,000 the next year. So I doubled my premium, I almost doubled my personal recruits, and then my cash doubled. So that was my personal. And then if you look at my team really quick before I bring Shaq up here. So base shop. Because when Shaq asked me earlier, I was like, man, Bruce went through all my numbers too. And then he made me realize that I'm not able to see that on the screen. Can you go back? Okay. So team-wise, right, you guys probably know who hit the board on our team. 82,000 from 2017 to 2018 to 168,000. So our team doubled in premium, but I did half of that in 1 year and then the next year, right? So I did 50% of my team's numbers. So just, trying to lead from the front end, 97 to 147 recruits in the base shop. So yeah, I don't just lean on my team. I don't think about overrides. I don't think you should think about overrides until you're an RVP or higher, because then you start to kind of, think you're there, but you're really not. And then, that's what happened with my cash. Is that pretty clear, straight to the point? Yeah, so just work on your activity and everything. And then that's it, you guys. So bring it up for Shaq. Give it up for Shaq.
All right, good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get started. I don't want to start, I got a bunch of texts this morning. I don't want to start this meeting on the wrong foot. So we may always start with a video, or somebody might fill in some time before I get up, which will give a little bit of a buffer. But when I come up to do training, nobody's going to be allowed in. Okay. It's a 10 o'clock meeting. You know where we live. Okay. There's 495, there's 66, there's 28. Kevin is late because he went to the Tyson's office, so he was on time. So he got here still by the time I trained, and he went to Tyson's first. All right. So But I want to announce to everybody, this is not going to be a meeting where you can stroll in late, things like that, okay? It's not good for you, it's not good for me, it's not good for the environment, it's not how you build any sort of championship locker room. And we're just not, I know some people, you guys come from far, I get it, leave earlier, all right? It's one meeting a week, get here on time, all right? All right, anyways, pull up that IRA example first. One thing I love to show people in my KT, and I draw it out, which is not as effective as this, but you should, especially if you're licensed, you should have a copy of this on your tablet or whatever. Before I get into the meat of the training, and this is part of the training, I want to talk a little bit about saving and investing. Okay, can everybody see this? Okay. So I think the biggest challenge we have with clients is when they write checks, especially on the investing. And always remember, insurance pays you upfront, which is big. It's promotions, it's bonuses. You have to do that. That means you're in the right market. Insurance is the foundation. It's a core product of ours, all right? But investments is your long-term. It's your residual income. It's building clients for life. So you have to get acclimated with all the objections, all the concerns, the paperwork, getting your license. It's only 1 out of every 4 licensed people in Primerica that are licensed are securities licensed. Okay, so that's a huge disqualifier right there. Okay, it's very easy to procrastinate, to not have a sense of urgency. I tell people all the time, I got in the business, and the business really started for me when I got investment license. Okay, I was not even really in Primerica. I was already double-digit recruiting. I basically had already won a trip before I was securities licensed, but I still felt until I was securities licensed, I was not licensed. Okay. I felt it opened up many more conversations I could have with clients. Obviously my income, the rollovers, residual income, PACs, right? $500 a month every single month, and then just walking them through that, right? And they have to stick with the plan. So one thing I always show people is investor A versus investor B, right? And one of the biggest objections that people give right now and in life is I'll get around to it, or I'll do it later, or not now. Someday, later, and they procrastinate. Okay? And in general, procrastination, it's like a creditor that charges interest. That's what procrastination is. Okay? You borrow money, and not only when you borrow money, think about this psychologically. And when I got involved in this company, I had debt, right? And not only did I have debt, I had bills and collections. That's how bad I was with my money. And I had no bills. I lived at home, I had a job, and I was not paying my bills, and and I was in collections, right? So that's just how foolish I was with money. What did that do for me psychologically? Number one, when you have debt, you cannot pay your bills. That's what that means. Okay? You cannot manage your income coming in and you have bills. I don't say that in an attacking way. I'm just telling you. 2, it means you're spending future money. Okay? So you don't have the money coming in. But you've already spent not just the money that's not coming in, future money. And 3, interest. Okay? And I don't want to use an insensitive word, okay, but I will, okay? But I heard this one time and it gave me a great visual. They said, interest, that's the cancer that's killing you financially. And in your goals and your dreams, this is the Friday meeting, right? This. I like this because it's like, I have you guys here, right? So it's like you get me uncensored, right? Before all the censorship laws have come in. Right? So here, in your mission to do whatever it is, build a book of business, build an agency, go RVP, go SVP, build a big bake shop, whatever it is. I don't care. Procrastination, that's your interest. That's what that is. You deferring, you delaying, you putting it off. What does that do for you? What sort of track record and negative habits does that create for you, right? So I love the concept of investing versus spending, right? I love that because poor and unsuccessful people, they spend. They spend their time, they spend their money. And spending is a concept of exhausting resources. Investing is you put forth something, and while it may be exhausting, it's not exhausting resources because you will get more back. And so the biggest thing that we deal with in clients with saving money is they want, I don't have any money. Well, that's why you don't. You won't have any money because you already think I don't have any money. You have to pay yourself first. You have to invest. And so we have a person, 22 to 29. That's what this says, right? Thanks, Thomas. And they save for 7 years. They contribute $35,000. This is in their IRA. Okay, from 22 to 29. That's $400 a month. Do you think if it was life or death, we could every 22-year-old could do that? Yeah, they could. Absolutely they could. Absolutely they could. If it was life and death. But it's not. It's a choice. You don't have to do it. And then from 30, they don't put any money in. Okay? And then until 67, they just let the money sit. It'll load.
1.8.
It's 1.8 million. Okay, so imagine that. You put in $35,000, and this is at what, 9%?
9%.
Yes.
At 9%, you put in $35,000, and you have $1.8 million. Okay, so your principal investment was 35 grand from 22 to 29, but it's the time value of it. So you put 40 grand, 8 years. You put 40,000, 1.8 million. That's investing. There's no, my dad bought a house in 1980, the house that my parents live in, that I grew up in, 1988 or 89, we bought that house for 200,000. It's 650,000. Great investment, ain't this? A lot of upkeep in that house. 1% property tax, refrigerators, renovations, broken windows, siding, getting the driveway sealed, real estate. I love real estate. My dad has property. It ain't this. Not putting money in an IRA where 1.8 million can grow tax-free. Right? I've had commercial buildings. I invest in commercial real estate, residential real estate. Nothing. People die to put money in an IRA. Wealthy people, they love putting money in an IRA, but they can't do it. They make too much money to put it in a Roth IRA. Okay? So investor B, okay, they don't save from 22 to 29. I'll do it later. But from 30, they decide to start saving, and they save $5,000 a year from 30 to 67. So they put in, what does it say?
209.
$190,000. So they had to put in $150,000 more, and they actually have less money. They have over 50,000 less. This is at a 9% rate of return. This gets even more dramatic if the returns are higher. 10, 11, 12%. You could put in a fraction. That's a fraction. So what happens when you wait? What happens when you wait? Think about this concept when you wait. One, you put yourself under pressure. Two, you have to save more money by waiting. And three, you do not accumulate enough. And I don't know about you, but you know, right? Like for me, I tell people all the time, my emotional psyche is very important. I don't know why, but I like to feel good. Okay, I do. I like to feel good. And you know, you can use that artificially. You can feel good, right? People can do whatever they do and have whatever they have and go hang out, whatever they, but that's artificial. Okay, that means you put something in your body, or you can be an adrenaline junkie, whatever it is, you know, but that's artificial, right? When I'm doing my stuff, Donald, I feel good about myself. When I'm not, like I hated college. I did okay in college. I did graduate, but I was on academic probation for many semesters. I barely graduated. I had a 2.3 grade point average. Not proud about that. I'm embarrassed about it. Wasted all my dad's money. Didn't take advantage of my college experience at all. Just stupid, right? But one semester I did make dean's list. Right, I had like whatever, a 3.4. Nothing crazy. It was like the lowest level dean's list, but I made it. And it was that semester, Kelvin. I had 6 core classes, so I had 18 credits, and I had no electives. And I did my homework every day. I was busy every single day. I still did watch the football games, went to the basketball games, still did what I did, you know, go to the gym, go hang out with my friends, all that stuff. But I handled my business first, and I felt better. And it worked so well, I stopped doing it. And I went back to my extra time, 12 credits, electives, and then my grades plummeted, and I started feeling bad, and just it was a negative cycle, right? And so this is very illustrative of what I'm going to talk about now, right? Which is time management. Because as full-timers and dealing with what you're dealing with, right? And I'm saying this because I'm speaking to myself, right? Because some of you guys, and I mean this, and I don't mean this facetiously, you have a full plate. You got stuff. Okay? God bless you. You got stuff to do. You got important stuff. You got family. You got kids. Right? I'm a dad. I got kids. I understand. Right? Some of you have family members. Right? And it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, right? You can either make excuses, or you can get better, or you can learn, and you can learn. Like, this is math, right? If you don't put the money in, you can say, well, I didn't have any money. Okay, well, it doesn't matter, right? At retirement, if you don't put money away for retirement, you're not going to have a retirement account. So if you spend everything that you make right now, you will not be able to retire. You'll continue working. That's a law. It's not theory. It's the same thing here, right? You can get distracted, you can look left, you can look right, and you might even be justified, and everybody else will agree with you, but you're not going to have a business, and you're not going to have freedom. And whatever is the pot of gold for you at the end of the rainbow, you're not going to have that. And so that's why we're here to talk about results, and what that means is I'm going to talk. So, has anybody ever heard of the Eisenhower Matrix? Huh? You've probably heard of it, but Stephen Covey made this famous. It's not going to work? Okay.
I'll search for it.
Okay.
Eisenhower, the president?
Yeah. The Elmo doesn't work with TV? Okay, that's good. All right. So there are 4, and as Thomas pulls it up, you can even put Covey's time matrix. You want me to turn this off right now, or while you find it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's 4 quadrants in time management. Okay. And he broke it down into tasks that are urgent and not urgent. And tasks that are important or not important. Okay, so you see urgent, not urgent, important, not important. Okay, so take a second to kind of digest this a little bit. All right, so some things are urgent and they're important, okay? And this is the first quadrant, okay? And I'm saying that we're going to cover today. It's not the, in terms of the priorities, it's not that, but it's the first one that we're going to talk about. So urgent tasks are things that require immediate attention. Crying baby. That's important and it's urgent. It's right now. It's visible. A fire in your house. Okay? Urgent and important is crisis living. Okay? Everything is visible, everything's important, and everything is immediate. Has to be handled right then. Certain phone calls, putting out, I always call myself a firefighter. I have to put out a fire, right? I have this big event coming up. So we have things, we have recognition, we have this, all this stuff. It's urgent, it's important. Okay? Then you have urgent and not important. Now, your phone is ringing, it's urgent, right? Meaning it's happening right now. But you know the person on there, it might not be important, right? I don't know about you, but every time my phone rings, it's usually a problem. And that's why they call me, because they can't handle it. Same with you guys, right? If you can handle the problem, you don't call me. Because you can't, you call me, right? And I learned that from Bruce. He said that. He goes, well, my phone always rings with problems. He goes, because if they can handle the problem, they don't need to call. And it's true. I mean, I don't intentionally do it with Bruce, but if I come to a red light and I can't get past it, that's who I call. I call him, right? And that's the nature of the line of work, right? Well, some of you guys, it's not just you, right? You have a family, you have your wife, you have your husband, right? But then a lot of you guys are counselors. You're an expert in relationships because of your awesome experience. So you're a marriage counselor. And you're shaking your head, Jimmy Jam. Why are you shaking your head? But think of how foolish that is. Like any of you guys have your stuff together. I mean, like I'm not, like you think I got my stuff together? I'm trying to survive, okay? And I say that with humility. I understand being in people's homes and having lots of agents. Everybody under their house has it. It's a freaking tornado, man. The only thing we know is we don't know. Right? And yes, I mean, if somebody has a specific instance, maybe I can say, hey, man, I did this or I did this. But what the hell are you going to tell somebody? Why would you lend that time? Some of you guys are therapists. You're helping people through their depression. You're counselors. And most of all, right, you can't be a banker, right? You can't loan money to people. You can't do things like that. So there are a lot of urgent, not important stuff. Those are what we call, and write this down, distractions. Those are distractions. Those distract you from your goal because they look like it's really important and you tend to it, but they're actually not important. Okay, then there is not urgent, but important. These are things like prospecting. It's not urgent, but it's very important. This is like self-improvement. It's not urgent, but it's important. This could be eating healthy for some of you, right? It's not urgent, but it's important. Now, the problem, Donald, is what? Because it's not urgent, you can put it off. And it's important in theory, because it's not really affecting you right now. This is where you make all your money, right here. This is where you have the reason, whatever I have, good or bad, okay, but definitely everything I have good, Kevin, is because of this. I did things that were not urgent, but they were really important, and I did a lot of them. Whether it was phone calls and KTs and building relationships with my recruits, whether it's trainings and all those things that I did. And I invested all of my time, the overwhelming majority, urgent, not important. Not urgent, important. Planning, self-improvement, prospecting, certain things, exercise. And then the last one is not important and not urgent. Okay? So there's distractions, and then there's this, which is time wasters. That's totally different. That's internet. That's, just the stupidest this is where everybody spends all their time. And stuff that is not urgent and not important. Social media. No reason. If you had some extra time, could you? Yeah, but checking all the emails, scrolling in the internet, just all these dumb, ridiculous things. Even look, I love sports. Even sports, what is it? Is it urgent? Is it urgent? Like, you got 3 hours to watch a game? Everything that's riding on this business for you and your family and everything depending. I'm just trying to, talk to you now, right? You can go. Look, I understand quality time. I do a lot of stuff, but not when I was in the thrills of building my business. And you're not going to build it. You're going to extend this thing on. So you got to figure out your time management. So here are some things, right? Obviously, you see some of these things, right? This is urgent, important. Is what I call crisis. That's crisis management, and it creates the most stress. And it's why a lot of people have a lot of stress in their life, because things are important and they let them become urgent. If you do a lot of things that are not urgent but important, you actually eliminate all of the urgent, important stuff because you've planned effectively, right? Yes, if you have a medical concern and you have a health issue, and it's because you let your health deteriorate, right? If I do a lot of things in my business, I am backed up against the wall a little bit with this big event. That's because I didn't plan it properly. That's me. If I would have done those things when they were not urgent, important, they wouldn't have become urgent and important. And a lot of people say that, right? I do better under pressure. That's the famous last words of a procrastinator. You don't do better under pressure. That's an excuse, and it's wrong. I like my back up against the wall. Yeah. Those Those are teams that are down 3-1 and they're about to get eliminated and go home. That doesn't work in the real world, right? Michael Jordan, I don't know if you guys remember him. Some of you guys, right? We should do that. There's that one skit on Late Talk Show. Have you ever seen it? I don't know if you've ever seen it, where they show the millennials like pictures of stuff and they don't know what it is. And then they show the older people pictures of stuff. Like, so they'll show like a Walkman, like, what is that? You know, or they'll show like famous old talk show people, right? Like Sally Jesse Raphael. And they're like, who is that? You know, but then they'll show like old people, like new stuff, like Pokemon or something.
Oh,
Like, what is that, right? So Michael Jordan, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy. Do you know who it is? He never went to a Game 7 in the finals, not one time. Right. So it wasn't just that he was, you know, he didn't ever get there. I'm not saying good or bad, you know, but the best of the best for you. Right? I would always say, I don't know, I'm good. I like my back against the wall. Bullshit. That's such crap, man. I like being overstressed, develop anxiety, you know, and then one thing happens, right? Yeah, I want to study just, you know, no, man, that's not like, I want to cut it right down. No. That is stupid. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you know, time management has been my Achilles heel too here. Right? I mean, I would be way bigger than I was if it didn't take me years and years to learn about this stuff. You know, when I started getting books and reading and then seeing like what helped me, I don't know how you guys are, but how are you with temptation? I'm terrible. I just don't put myself in harm's way, right? Like I joke about the internet, but I mean, dude, I love YouTube as much as anybody else. I mean, they're the funniest clips in the world on YouTube, right? I mean, you can find anything, right? I mean, videos, hours and hours of content. You know, I mean, but so I don't get near it when I'm not stupid. I know. Somebody sends me something I want to watch. Oh, damn, 50 best dunks of 2011. Yo, Kelvin, you got to see this, man. Right? You got to see this. This is important. Oh, it's only 31 minutes. That's nothing. And I know why you're laughing because you guys do this stuff all the time, man. Right? I used to tell this story, right? I was, when I went full time here and I quit my job, I started working, you know, when I did Primerica, I would go to my job and I worked in Tyson's Corner. I'd leave at 7:15 every single day and I'd get there by 8. And I worked from 8 to whenever the work was done. I always stayed extra. But here, right, I'd wake up and I'd stay in bed till like 10 o'clock and I flip the TV on and I watch reruns of TV shows when I work for myself. Because, you know, the sitcoms are only half an hour and they're funny, you know, the television laughs for you, so you don't even have to do anything. You just sit there, it's laughing, you hear it, you don't even really need to laugh. It tells the joke, and I watch Fresh Prince reruns, Saved by the Bell reruns, and my favorite, Wings. You guys don't know about this show, okay? YouTube it later, okay? It's important. This is important to okay? And it just wasted my entire. That's why I had to leave my IRA, and my dad confronted me about it, and that's when I got to work, right? Because I was just wasting time, right? So I understand, and somebody put a book in my hand, right? They gave me the book, great book, pick it up. It's called the Procrastinators Handbook, and it wasn't even a hard read. It just had some concepts, but a lot of quotes about procrastination, of what famous and successful people have written about time management. Do it now, do it today, right? Procrastination, a dream deferred, all these things that you hear. And I started reading books about this in time management. I read a book called Time Traps and all these other things that I've read. Because I knew, Donald, it wasn't that, you know, what's the saying, right? The flesh is willing, or what is it? But the skin is weak, the flesh is weak. Come on.
Flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing.
Yeah, you got some big ass. Finally have one here. What is it, Donald?
The flesh is weak. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Right? So that's what they say, right? The spirit is willing. I wanted to be successful, but the flesh is weak, right? But that requires the daily discipline, and I didn't have that in the beginning, and I got hit like a ton of bricks, right? And I think that's like a lot of you, right? And so Always remember this. Success is not in these big, big decisions. It doesn't work like that. It's these little ones every single day. Okay? It's not these huge, monumental decisions. You've already made that. You joined this company. Now it's going to be little things that you do every single day, every single hour, a philosophy, a way of life. And for me, I was not that. I just didn't do it. I took the TV out, right? Delete the apps that are distracting you. I don't have social media. That may cost me a lot of money. But for me, I told you, I had Facebook for 6 months. I was stalking everybody. I mean, I was checking their messages. They update it. They do this. I was like, oh. I mean, I was checking the comments. I was like really into this. It was like a black hole for me, hours and hours and hours. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was like, wow, it's cool. I'm catching up and this. But I was like, hey, look, man, this is a problem, right? So I got off of it. I did it, and I like it. But in terms of your long-term goal, it was a distraction or a time waster. A distraction at best, but probably a time waster, right? And one thing too, right? And I want you to really think about this. This is another thing that hurt me a lot, is stop looking for shortcuts. There's no shortcuts here, right? It's only doing things right the first time. That was one thing that really hurt me. I was a shortcutter, so I always looked for. Now look, you can get better, you can improve your skills, but there's no such thing as a shortcut here. You're not going to get more from less. Okay, you can get better, you can improve your skills, but you're not going to get more from less. And here's the ironic part of Primerica and time management. This is the irony of life. Easy short-term decisions lead to difficult long-term consequences. Easy short-term decisions lead to difficult long-term consequences. So what is easy and what is immediate and what is pressing will make life harder for you. And you will live in a life of urgent and important, which is not, that is this most stressful way to live your entire life. Right?
Can you say that again, Shaq?
Easy short-term decisions lead to difficult long-term consequences. And self-discipline, okay? I was not born with self-discipline. I did not like self-discipline. Okay, I was like everybody else, but my parents put me in things that built this muscle, right? I did tutoring, I did sports. And sports, if you know, and it doesn't matter what sport it is that you play, if you play any sort of competitive sport outside of rec, you practice more than you play. You work on drill, even soccer, which is a running fluid sport. You practice set pieces, you practice plays, you practice drills, you practice heading, right? My kids are in swimming. They're swimming more. The race is a fraction of how much they practice. And what happens with any high achiever, what I've learned, is you start thinking over time, you start thinking different about discipline. You start actually liking discipline. You understand this is what makes us great. And people that are not willing to do this, they're not great because of this. And then you start to like it. You crave it. And everything in your life, you understand. What I try to teach my son, and I have failed miserably, but I'm getting there. All I teach him, right? Whether it's sleeping in the bed, right? Or doing his homework first. If you do what you don't want to do, you can have what you want to have. Because life is not a buffet. You can just take what you want. No. You got to do the things you don't want to do first. That's how it works here. And if you do the things you do not want to do, you can have the payoff later. And that's an awesome place to be when you can train your mind to think differently about discipline. Because that is transferable in anything that you want to do successfully. You'll understand, man, it requires discipline and hard work. You know, my son and daughter, they go to training once or twice a week, right? It depends on if I'm available. Usually I am, so I can take them twice a week. And then, you know, they go to this NFL guy, and he trains all these little kids, and he's really good at working with kids, right? He works with special needs kids, and you see the people that, and this guy, he played for the Redskins, you know, big time. Like, he was a big time player, dual athlete, played basketball in college at Xavier, which is a big school, and then he went, or Cincinnati, and then went to the NFL. Really good dude. I mean, nicest guy in the world. He trained both my sister and my sister's kids, who both played varsity sports. And, you know, when he trained my son, when he got my son there, it was awesome what he said. He goes, hey, I just, you know, he's like, look, I love to work with your kids. They're really good. I think I can help them. But I just want you to know something. And I go, what? He goes, you know, girls they get coordinated a lot earlier than boys. And he goes, so for your son, I can tell, you know, some of the things that you want for him. Because I was telling him I want him just to be functional and coordinated. And he goes, look, it's going to take 3 years.
How many?
3. 3 years. What do you do? He managed my expectation. Like it's going to take 3 years. And I didn't feel like he was insincere because he just wants to climb for 3 years. I felt that was true. I was like, okay. Because I know that you know, he could just tell, like, my son's just off in other places when I mean, it's hilarious when they're there together, you know, he's just doing his thing. That's just how he is, right? If you guys know, my son is very gifted, he's very smart, but if things don't come to him, he gives up right away. That's the problem with people that are very gifted, right? People that got to work hard, they understand. They got to work hard. Yeah. And so, you know, yesterday, and he's only been doing it probably for 6 months now. Yesterday, and I don't know how much the coach assisted him, but like when I said like 3 years, he was like, for him to run with the coordination, to understand all this stuff. And they got him doing all these things. Like, it looked like he got a pull-up, which I was like thrilled because, see, when you manage expectations, when you understand that you got to put a lot of work. See, when you have the shortcutter, not do what it takes mentality, the thief mentality, the gambler mentality, you expect this thing. You really think of how arrogant that is for you to think the effort that you're putting in is actually going to yield results quickly. My son is going, and he trains for a freaking hour with a personal trainer, and there's only like 3 or 4 kids in the little class, and he's been going there for 6 months, twice a week. Finally, he got a pull-up. And the coach told me 3 years. You come in, you really think like, well, I talk to this many people. I this. You know how hard you're working. You know what you do every day. And even then, and something I tell Amanda all the time, right? I am a God-fearing man. I believe in God. But if you don't believe in God, you can, the universe, higher power, whatever it is, God's a prankster. Mm-hmm. So even when you put the work in, it's still going to take you longer than you think. Because we want to see if you really want it. Not deserve it, want it. Right? Because things are not going to be as easy, right? So the biggest thing too is this, right? Not important and urgent, you have to fight. That is a fight. You know, the red thing, and I'm saying this, I'm being honest, right? The red button comes on and it looks like I got an email. I want to check it right away. Brian Tracy says this, if there are 2, he goes, I would clear my desk in the morning before I made my calls. Because if there was a piece of paper there, it would distract me from doing what I need to do. You can't even check your notifications. I know it's really important, right? Somebody just posted something you can buy, right? But you don't understand, it's 10% off Chick-fil-A. I got to go buy it right now. Did you do your prospecting yet? Did you make your calls yet? Or are you just a slave to this phone and all the notifications that are, right? So that's why I don't have anything on there. Because I know what it is, man, right? I like games too. I like, you know, whatever it is, Angry Birds, that was the game that distracted me, right? When I was like ready to build my second base shop, Angry Birds just came out. So I had to do Angry Birds 1, 2, Angry Birds Star Wars, all of it, right? Had to get all the things and where's my water, all those things, right? But it's a distraction, man, right? But the disguising distractions, those are the hard ones, man. The emails, the phone calls, right? Really hard. My mom was great at that, right? I would tell her I'm working 3 hours every morning. Mom will always call me. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, you know, we need your help, this, that. Mom, I'll do it right after 12. And you know this, and I'm telling you this story, right? Like my parents were not like super supportive of Primerica. They wanted me to, my dad's academia, my mom has a master's in engineering, my dad's a PhD. So they would tell me things, and I would work Saturday mornings, which I thought they would like that I would work hard, right? But they would all, oh, we have this, we need your help, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I have a little sister, right? So I'm serious about Primerica, I'm all in, I'm doing it. And then they would ask me to always do this stuff. And you know, stuff that only really like certain things like, oh, your dad needs help with this. And I'm like, well, why didn't you ask Sherry? She has school. I'm like, but I have work. I know, but it's, you know, no. But I mean, that's your part-time thing. No. This is my business. And I'd have to sit down and tell my mom, like, hey, Mom, you know, look, these things are non-negotiable for me. And I didn't say it in a rude way. I didn't say it in an offensive way. I said it like kind of just setting the boundaries. Like, look, I have to do this. I have to do, even with my wife, right? I'm married. You guys know that. My wife is still a wife, right? She knows. It doesn't matter if it's a birthday party. It doesn't matter if it's anniversary. It doesn't matter anything, especially while I was building my business. Saturday trainings are Saturday trainings. Because these are what sets me free, right? And so I outlined every single thing that I had to do, and I did it. And I didn't put myself in harm's way, and I did a life of this, and when I say a life, like a decade, 5 to 10 years of time management, working really hard, and now I can literally live anywhere I want. Do whatever I want. With what I want, right? And yeah, if I'm having conversations like big people, then yes, I'll ask the price. But with anybody else, I don't have to worry about anything, right? Because of what? This, right? So, I think that was it about this. All right. Let's go into some of our training here. We got a little bit of time, a little long. All right, pull up. Actually, I'll do it. I have it here. All right, so I've been getting a lot of questions on KTs about not being able to go back. Okay, not if you don't close on the first. Okay. So if we don't close on the first, what happens, right? Usually we don't go back, or something happens and we lose touch with the client. Is that right? Okay, so I know there's some new people here. Don't worry about it. Someone will go over your head. You'll learn this as you pick it up and hear trainings over and over again. Just try to take what you can from the training. So when we sit down on the first appointment, there are times 100% of the time you should close on the first, okay, with a life application, okay? And I'm not talking about going through the questionnaire. When are 100% of the time you should close the application? Write down. Okay, so you're out there, you're training, and through discovery, through data collection, through communication, you should get an application. Not should because they answer all the questions right. Okay, I'm not talking about I can commit money to this, I'm underinsured. There are times you better get a check. If you're not, you're going to get lashed by me. Okay, who knows one of them?
No coverage.
No? What? Jimmy Jim?
If they have small kids.
No.
If it's long distance.
If it's long distance. Okay? If you go an hour or two for the appointment, you better get a check. Okay? What you're saying is the need, small kids, no cover. That is normal standard stuff. I understand that. You should get a check, okay? If you have to go 2 hours for an appointment, you don't go back. There's no thinking about it. Stay the extra time. Say, look, level with me. You're a professional. You're a business person. This is not a huge decision. You're just applying for coverage. Let's get it. And you force it. That doesn't mean we have to accept it. Always remember that. Right? I never want to hear, well, this would just charge back anyway. Look, no, you got to perfect the art of getting the application. I won't send it in. But you get them to part with their check or accounting and bank information and proceed with the application. Okay? So one, if it's far, right? You're going from here to Richmond, get an app. That's why you're going. What else?
If it's under $50.
If it's a small lab, okay? I don't know about 50, but small, $20, close it. What you preparing this whole FNA for? Well, listen. I did an analysis, okay? And I feel you can get 12,000 of coverage, 15 or 18,000. It's $20, man. Okay, I can find it in your couch. Let's go. Let's some quarters. Jeez. Really? Let's get these cans and sell them, at 5 cents or $20. You have some respect here a little bit, right? It's a small app. Do the $20, man. Okay, so if it's a far distance, it's a small baby app, you close 100% of the time. Last one. There's another third issue.
The new recruit becoming an advocate.
No. But that's good. I'm glad. I want you thinking that. Look, part of this is you have to be an intelligent player, right? I want you to understand. So I don't mind, right? I'll laugh at you, but I like the answers, okay? Okay. Everybody in here has been laughed at. Don't worry about it. Josh.
Replacing a check, like cash value.
No. Do we always replace a check on the first one? No. Right? But if you go out, where else do you 100%? A health issue. Health issue, you can't even get coverage. I'm luckily doing this for you. I'm just doing it out of the courtesy of my heart. If they have a major health issue, you close. It's nothing. There's no money. There's no thought. If they had a cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attack, there's nothing to think about. There is nothing to think about. You would be grateful if you could actually get coverage. You probably can. There's 99% chance you can. Let's go through with it. Okay, so there are 3 times 100% of the time you close. If it's far, you close. You set the table right on the appointment or with the trainee, whatever it is. If it's a baby app, $18, $19, you put the full court press. Right? Any basketball players in here? Right? You know what it's like to play against a team that presses, right? That's the worst thing in the world. You catch the ball, there's somebody on you. You don't even have 5 seconds of rest, and usually they're long, athletic, right? People, I hated playing against the things that press because you press them. You make it extremely you do it with the way you know how to do it, but you make it very obvious. We have to move forward here. A baby app, a long distance drive, and health issues, you close 100% of the time. Okay? Everything else, you should close. And if you don't close, there are some things, if they have young children, if you are replacing a check, if they gave you all the green signs, if you found within their budget, you should close, okay? And I've tried to perfect the training. Some of you guys have been helping me. I'm showing you through the presentation the green and yellow lights and then the red lights, right? And if you get a lot of greens and yellows and you don't sticker shock them, you should get a check. Okay. Another thing before I get back into the meat of the training, how long should your presentation be before you get to the financial house? How long is it taking people? Write down your number. So that's once you sit down at the table and start talking. Okay. Now I'm not talking about getting to the table when you walked in the door, but once you're there at the table, how long does it take you? And you've started. You whipped out your iPad or Surface or whatever it is, your electronic device, and you start your presentation. How long does it take you? 15, 20 minutes? 10, 15? Okay. 15 is a good number. Okay. Should not take you, it should take you right around 15. Okay. Should not take you 30 plus. I mean, look, I understand, right? Sometimes it's the client. They ask a ton of questions. They want to talk to you, right? You gotta curb that. More is not better. Okay. Because here's the thing, right? What happens when clients talk a lot? No, look, this is training. This is for real. This is not like, we're not going to just talk about winning and this and that. Like now we're learning what to do in the business. I'm a field training expert. That's why I'm good at this business. What happens when clients talk a lot? Write it down. I don't want you, you got to be smart out there. So you're going there, you're going to see what to see when you're going to see what the defense is throwing at you. Two things happens to me all the time, okay? When clients talk a lot. Name one thing. Go ahead, Jimmy. Okay, it definitely throws your flow off, 100%, okay? Sometimes it could be on subject. It still throws you off, okay? Sometimes you're right. Why are we talking about telescopes here? I'm not sure how we got here. Okay? I don't know. This is taking a turn and it's just weird. Right? Why are my shoes and socks off? I'm not sure. This is just, I know I'm not comfortable with this. Right? And dude, trust me, clients try to throw you off. Okay? They do it, some of them, it's just their nature. Some of them, they just don't want to get to the meat of it. Oh, show me pictures of your kids, this and that, start talking about other stuff. And you think it's going great because you're building rapport. But if you're over 20 minutes, it's a problem. Okay? And here is what happens 99% of the time. Clients talk long, then they rush when you want to close. Yeah. Oh, shoot, look at the time. So now you have gone in a downward spiral because you wasted time. You knew you had a good client that was friendly, but you wasted the time. Now you can't close. Now you're angry, irritable. And then it becomes unnatural you trying to close it, right? Because you're pressing the client. You're rushing the client. 15 minutes, then you get into it. Okay, so sometimes you don't get the application on the first for many different reasons. They have a policy, so they have a policy. You can't push the do it right now, your kids are at risk. They have a policy. Okay, sometimes, and I'm not saying it's okay,
But, you know, meaning I want you to close almost 70, 75% of the time on the first application. But sometimes you're going to withdraw for whatever reason. You're going to just take a step back, let the FNA do the work, come back with some recommendations. So this can't be, and this is the problem, this can't be all 100% green, no yellow. There is yellow if you come back. So how do we come back? And this slide we're going to add into the presentation. All right? And it'll be the closing slide of the presentation. Many of you have heard me do this before. It's something we've gone away from. If you have a securities license, you definitely need to have this dialogue in it. And it's the final commitment page, and you have to go through it. We don't have the slide in the presentation, so a lot of you new trainers, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. You get the dialogue. I have it right here. I'm going to put this in a slide, okay? And it'll be on our presentation, and maybe Thomas or Ricky will help me, and we can do it by tomorrow. It'll be the newest version of our presentation, okay? But so, sure, you go in, and for whatever reason, after the chess match, you're in a stalemate. You cannot close, but there's life in the client, okay? Have you ever closed something you haven't closed on the first? No? Sorry, we're not all hurt, okay? We're all not Steph Curry here and shoot from half court. Shoot 90, right? Who is not closed on the first but closed, right? So what's our process? What goes in your head there?
When I know that I can't close in the first, I get a commitment for the FNA, and I get a commitment for the time to come back, and I set the time to come back. I try to get the money commitment.
Okay, so he said basically all of them. All right, but I will go through it. This will be a slide, but I want you to write them down. Okay, so number one, okay, you get a dollar commitment from the client. The dollar commitment also is an FNA commitment. So how much money per month could you set aside over and above what you're already doing to put towards your financial plan? Then we give them some benchmarks. Okay, so there's an insurance commitment where you're going for a quote, and before you quote them, you're going to get a dollar amount, and as long as they're whatever the dollar amount can fit somewhat of a reasonable quote, you should close. But if you can't close it right there, you have to get another commitment, and that's called the dollar commitment. So say I sit down with Peter and Tia, and I say, hey, how much money per month could you set over and above what you're already doing to put towards your financial plan? You see, I didn't say insurance. Now, say they said to me, well, we just remember we had told you, say they said to me $50 each for their insurance. That's $100. So they said, well, we said $50 each. Said, no, well, that's protecting your family. And I'll come up with some numbers that will fit within your budget, but for your plan. And what I mean by your plan is, remember some of the things that we talked about. Getting out of debt, putting your son in college, right? What's your son's name again? Yeah. Right? So always remember, whenever you're doing stuff, you're not getting money, you're protecting families, you're helping them save for retirement, right? You got to remember that, right? As you're doing these things. Because this is not a bill, it's not a gym membership, it's not a cell phone, this is their family's financial future. So you have to say things that remind them of family and protecting them and doing right for them. Getting out of debt, beefing up your retirement, putting your son in college. What's your son's name again, right? Let them say it. They love saying their kids' names, right? Now, before they answer, because what happens in the past when you ask for a dollar commitment? They're going to say $100. Okay? So if you have a couple making $4,000 a month each, $8,000, what's $100 going to do? You're doing a disservice to the family. right? We want a real client that can put real money away. Before you answer, let me give you some targets, a benchmark. For people that are super committed and committed to retiring early, their expenses are low, they usually can put away 20%. For people already established and adequate income, 15%. And people just getting their foot in the door and just getting started at the least 10%. Which one of these best describes you? Okay, so what sounds more, $300 a month or 20%? $300 a month, right? That's why you always use the percentages, 20, 15, 10. Then we are going to dollarize it. Okay, now, when you dollarize it, you are going to give them some sticker shock. Okay, but here is sticker shock is actually good. Because, write this down, your price conditioning. Your price conditioning. Which one of these best describes you?
Probably 10%.
Okay, you feel that's where you guys fit in? Okay, great. So I know you guys both make $4,000 a month. So 10% would be $800. Okay, so when you say $800 a month, and remember, they pick the lowest amount. Okay, so there are a lot of emotions going on. Like, oh shoot, number one, there's a little bit of a takeaway. We're broke. They're thinking that we're broke. So they could feel shameful. They could feel guilty. They could feel like, ah, man, I don't scrap this whole thing. We already picked the lowest amount, and $800 a month, that just sounds crazy. And they could give you a nonverbal cue like that, like, right? They get eye language, body language, a sigh, a lot of stuff. That happens all the time, right? But here, this is not, it's not a quote for insurance where we really want to match it. So I said, okay, it's like, say he says that. He says, well, look, I'd rather you start small and work your way up. Because if you start too big, logic says you can just reduce it. Okay, but that actually won't happen. If you start too big, you quit altogether. So what I'd rather you do is find something that you can comfortably commit to, and then we can always increase it later. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay, so if 800 is too high, I want you guys to come up with a number. And remember, this is for your financial future. Okay, this is not, and I'll say to them, this is not a bill. This is the stuff that we just discussed earlier tonight, the concepts. This is important stuff for you, right? These are things that you want to accomplish.
Probably we do at least half of that.
Okay, so, and because I'm giving you time to write stuff down. I would not let him answer. I still won't let him answer. Okay, I'll throw another number out here. Watch what I'll do, okay? So say, okay, so if 800 is too much, and I understand that, I know that you're just getting started, I want you to feel comfortable. What is, like, do you think you feel comfortable with, say, 700?
Yeah, a little bit.
So say he's hesitating, which that will happen. See, I'm not going to go from, we're negotiating here. I'm not going to go from 800 to 100. Okay, you have no resolve. Okay? Now always remember, you know what you bought it at. You know what the car is worth. Okay? I'm good if I get $200 from them. $200, I'm good. Okay? Honestly, if I sit down with a couple, make $4,000 each, if I can get a $250 a month commitment, I feel good about it. Now look, if they make a lot more, yeah, I want $1,000 a month, but I never am going to get 10% from the client. I know that. That just doesn't work. It's unheard of. So 700, but you see, Peter didn't even know what I was doing. He knows what I was doing, but he said this, and this is a very honest answer. Before I gave him 700, he goes, we could do half of that. Because that's where he immediately wants to go. He's like, man, okay, I'm negotiating with, he thinks it's a bill. He thinks he's buying something from me.
Right.
And so I'll give you 400. That's probably where everybody wants to do. They still can't even do that though. So he says 700. He can't do it. So he's okay. Hey, look, this is your number. It's your plan. You guys got to feel, now look, it's got to hurt a little bit. Okay. This is important stuff, but you know, 700 is too high. What do you think? 500?
Yeah, I think we can make 500 happen.
Okay. You think 500? Okay. But you feel comfortable that you can commit to?
Yeah.
And say they hesitate even for a second or at all, right? I'm going to say, okay, why don't we do 400? Okay. That's 5%. See, before he said it, I'm taking that away, right? You know, we role playing this, but take that out that he didn't say 400. I said, why don't we do 400? But you guys feel you really come, like, I'm doing you a favor now. And when I come back with my recommendation, Donald, it's not even going to be near 400. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, look, I want you to apply for insurance, and then let's open up your IRAs at $100 a month. That's $300. And then once we get established, once the policy gets back, we can, right? So they feel really good about moving forward. Okay. Look, always remember this. Okay. There is a huge difference. I'm not saying good or bad, and I'm not diminishing what the first thing I'm going to say. But there's a huge difference from an insurance application and a client for life. I love insurance applications. I love insurance. I don't like them. I love them. But getting a client for life, so when they get married or when they get divorced, they call you, when they have a 401k rollover, when they understand that you do a lot of different things, right? And even though tonight, guys, I know we focused a lot on protecting your family because I know it was really important to you based on how you answered the question. Is a huge priority for you guys. There are a lot of other things that we do. That's the first step, and it's the foundation. We got to secure that. There are a lot of awesome things that we're going to talk about, right? So just planting seeds for long-term, planting seeds for financial advising that require other money. Okay. So 400 a month. Are you sure 400, or do you even want to start lower than that?
Yeah, I think we can.
400. Okay, but you guys can commit to this? Okay. Okay, so if I come back with the program to use those dollars, if I come back and, you know, you're happy with the program and the recommendations I recommend, that I offer to you, and it fits within your budget, would you have any problems making the changes that I recommend?
No.
Okay, that is what? A commitment to do business. Okay, all right, you told me you needed time. Okay, and I went through all my 5, 6 objections. I still couldn't do it. And then the last one is what? The carryback date. Okay. Now this for many of us is an in case of emergency. Okay. I want you to close how many on the first? 75%. Okay. 75%. You're there. The husband and wife are there. The breadwinners are there. The kids are in the other room. We're talking about money and protecting the family. You go protect that family. But you need a parachute. This is the parachute. You have what? Dollar commitment. Commitment to do business. And you've exercised and worked down the dollar commitment. And then the last thing you need to do, carry back date. When?
This week.
1 to 3 days. A week max. A carryback date 2 weeks out is not a carryback date. If someone told, and I've done this many times, I'm not saying I've been successful at this, Shondell, but if someone starts saying, well, we're busy for a month, I say, well, we just got to do it now. I say, hey, we got to take care of the first step. I'm going to go back to reclose. You messed up. I'm going right back in. I mean it. Well, look, I'm busy. I got vacation. The kids have school. Okay, hey, well, look, right now, and I would do it. I would go the hard part. I would go the sentimental route. Show talked about this on Saturday training. Hey, you don't have any protection. You know, I wouldn't feel right, this and that. I'm going to go back that route. Let's get this started. I can work on the other plan. This takes 4 to 6 weeks anyway, and I'm going to try to reclose them. They give me 1 to 3 days. Week max, you go back. Because look, we don't, and look, I love follow-up. We'll put them in Sales Team Pro. We'll do all that stuff, but I need to move on and find another client. I got goals to hit. I got income goals to hit. I got trips. I got all these things I got to do, and I don't want to be chasing you around banking on something I don't have.
Right.
Everybody understand?
Yes.
Okay. So, any questions about this? Okay. One thing I talked to Amanda, and I'll leave this last point as we go. One thing I talked to Amanda about, because she does a lot of phone prospecting. A lot of you guys are doing face-to-face prospecting. Okay, so there's a concept in sales called low-hanging fruit, right? Has anybody heard this before? What is it?
Like the bottom of the barrel, like yeah, I'll do anything. Like
right. So, right, most of us can only get the low-hanging fruit. It's the one you can reach right there. It's the ripest, right about to fall. But you're not actually getting all the fruit on the tree. Okay? And a tree only has so much low-hanging fruit. It's limited. The best salespeople, they understand how to cultivate all the fruit in the tree. And a common concept that we have here is called follow up, right? Follow up, because no might be not now. No might be not yet. No, you know, most people, Tom Hopkins says you have to prime the pump. That most people close on the 4th or 5th time. So Jimmy Jam, you might ask 3, I get the other 2, I got your sale. Because you did 3. That would suck, right? You did 60% of the work, I come in, right? Timing, whatever it is, right? And a lot of you have made sales like that. You've recruited people like that. So if you look at our numbers, okay, especially if you're not, this is not a warm or hot market, but even in your warm market, right? I recruited Samir. It took me 10 months to recruit him. I had to keep following up. I had to keep inviting him out. I did all those things. I kept inviting, kept inviting, kept inviting. He was not low-hanging fruit. So, if you have to have a system for follow-up, all right? If you call somebody, Kelvin goes out, he meets somebody at the gym, he gets their name, he gets good quality data, enters it in Sales Team Pro, invites them out to the op meeting, they don't come, they no show, no call, they disappear. What are we going to do? Huh? Okay, you can follow up. How? What do you do?
I mean, I'll call them again.
Okay, you can recall, right? I think. Huh? So I think that's where you campaign them, right? Send them to op meeting. Livent has an op meeting. See, they might open it. They might watch it, right? I was telling Amanda, because Amanda, you know, and Shondell, you probably know this too, right? Like, if you're a phone prospector, I don't know, at least 50% of people, at least, are not going to come in. Okay? So say you book, how many people do you think you book a month? 100?
Yeah, maybe 75.
70, let's call it 100 for even numbers. So maximum 50 people are going to come in, right? So in a year, if you book 100 people a month, you might prospect people now with emails. You could prospect 100 people a month, right? And if you get really good at Sales Team Pro and you enter it in right there on your phone, you know if the email is good or bad. I would do that. I promise you. You can just put it up, quick add, name, phone number, email. Just type it. Why would you use a piece of paper? Put it in the app right there. So you know the email. Oh, hey man, the email. Sorry, it's not going through. Oh shit, this guy's professional.
Yeah.
Right? Say I set up the interview, he doesn't come in. That means if you had 50 people that you talked to that did not come in or put you off in a month, that's 600 a year. Okay? If you campaign them somehow, some way, whether it's a How Money Works, 6-part video, or Lavin's opportunity meeting, do you think 1 out of 600 might become a recruit? One might open the video. Then you call them, hey Ruby, I was just thinking about you. I wasn't just thinking about you, but I know you clicked my shit. Right? I'm still on your mind. Right? I know you just opened my video, but you don't say that, right? But you say, hey, Ruby, this, that. Maybe it's time to follow up. Do you think out of 600, maybe 10 people could potentially be primed to recall? Can't hurt. That's the low-hanging fruit are the people that say yes and come in right away. That's not going to be the overwhelming majority of the people you recruit. Okay? You have to have a follow-up system where you put good data in Sales Team Pro and follow up with them. And you campaign. That's why you should be looking. I mean, it's harder. It's 5 to 10 times harder to get somebody new than a prospect that you just have to revisit. And if you do both, Donald, you're a double threat. That's what you got, right? But it's not, oh, hey, this person does it and then just leave them off. No, now we have campaigns where we can show them. 6 months, you put them on, they no-show, right? I told Amanda, you have a list of every no-show just so we can track it. And then you campaign them. You send them the lab video, see who opened it, right? Because if something opens, it should show you, right? Yeah. You got an email alert? Okay. So if they open what? Like
open the email you sent them.
Even if that's a birthday notification? Because I didn't get that.
Click a link. If they open the email, it just shows you. And if you click on their name, it'll show you the details. But if there's a link inside the email and they click the link,
then you get an email. Okay, good. Look, I'm telling you right now, just like I told you 2-3 years ago, the people that master emergency contact are going to make money. The people that master this are going to have businesses. They're going to have people. Okay? Because I've seen follow-up, Donald, because of my business and the numbers that I have. But, it's, oh, Josh followed up with Shug's recruit. Shug met somebody, and then, like me, they disappeared into the abyss, and then they ran across Josh somewhere, some way. You got him as a recruit. This happens all the time. Okay? And I hear, and there's millions of stories, hundreds of stories that happen outside my hierarchy because someone got recruited by somebody else. Oh, I saw you. Oh, yeah, I'm under this guy now. Like, what? How'd this happen?
Yeah.
Because, right? So, look, you can be stupid. The people that listen to emergency contact, booking week to week, they're the ones making money. Or you can be smart and intelligent. And intelligent is putting lots of people in Sales Team Pro and spamming the hell out of people. And seeing who opens, man. You never know, right? So, all right, tomorrow, now before we go, right? This meeting, right? I think we're going to continue this without RVP, so it's on us. But we need help here because it's not fair that Thomas has to do all this work. All right. So, Thomas, what do we need help? We need some volunteers.
Yes.
Nothing basic, but nothing huge. But if a bunch of people come in, right, and can come a little early, we don't have the room, but you only need to come 15 minutes early just to help set up. Because from this week on, I want to move these tables to the back of the room and then sit up front. So we'll need help with that. Obviously, we need some muscle to just move the tables to the back. Then we can sit. What else will we need?
Yeah, just the tables and the chairs here. And then Saturdays, it's a lot more because we gotta move chairs from all the different suites and stuff like that.
So I'm gonna have
music too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a big thing tomorrow on Saturdays because Saturdays is not, we need, in order to run that meeting, we're gonna need a lot of help. And like I said, the lowest level is showing up and the second lowest level is just expecting a chair and everything. That's not like, you need to take ownership, right? I remember when I played sports, right? I mean, I was always usually one of the younger people on my team playing with older kids. That's how I got better at some sports. And we had to carry the equipment, we had to carry the balls, we had to pick up these, we had to pick up the cones, always had to do that, right? And no one liked it, but you did it and you did it with a good attitude because you knew one day you were going to be on the varsity team. Right. And the JV team, that was their rite of passage. And the people that did that, that's what they did. And then you mentored them and you helped them just like people helped me. So it's not like, if you can't treat this like a normal job. This is a business, it's your business, this is your meeting, right? Some of you guys have 5, 10, 12 people in the meeting, right? It is your meeting. So you have to contribute. And if you can't contribute with sometimes your production, you contribute with, your overall just willingness to help out. So it's nothing crazy, but we can't put it all on Alex and Thomas and whoever it is that does a lot of the work, right? So tomorrow, right, get there early, 8:45, 9 o'clock, help out. We'll have a to-do list of stuff that we need, volunteer sign up, stuff like that.
One more thing, if one person who's familiar with POL, if every Saturday morning you can check the competition, the contest rankings, because a lot of times I just don't have time to do it.
Yeah, that's
the contest rankings, look everybody up, see who's on target, on the bubble, just send me a list and I can add it to the PowerPoint.
Okay, so see Thomas afterwards. If you can do that, you can even show you how to check competition scoreboard. That takes 2 minutes, right? But it's one extra thing that somebody else has to do for you, right? That's not right. This is a meeting to teach you how to become eventually a full-timer and an RVP, right? These are all things I like at this event. I do the event. Okay, I do the overwhelming majority of the event. I have 250 people at the event. In my hierarchy, there's 1,000 people at the event. So most of it, but do I think like that? No, because I know this is what they asked me to do. I've done my own events before. So I'm a team player on a different level, right? Ordering stuff, picking stuff up, planning recognition, right? Amanda, you see all the stuff I just like all day for like a month. I have to do all this stuff, right? And it sucks, but I know there's other people that have to do stuff. And one day I'll have 1,000 people at my event. Right, so anything else, Thomas, just send out and so we can make this meeting even better. Next week we'll move the tables back, put the chairs up. Tomorrow show up early. All right, and then there's no training next Friday because we have our big event Saturday and Sunday. All right, so no meeting here next Friday. We'll resume 2 weeks from now. All right, Team Monkey, 1, 2, 3.
I wish I could be at the training tomorrow. I know you're gonna be in class.